plastic. It's better for a million people to be imperfectly sustainable than it is for one person to be perfectly sustainable. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Julianne. I make lifestyle sustainability videos, so if any of that interests you, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. So today I'm going to be talking about how we as individuals can reduce our carbon footprint and how our choices can impact bigger systemic issues. One thing to consider is that our money is like a vote, and what we choose to spend our money on is what we're wanting and what we're voting on, pretty much. So without further ado, we're just going to get into the video. Probably the easiest way to reduce your carbon footprint and the easiest to incorporate into your life is to stop or at least reduce eating meat, especially red meat. And I say especially beef products because raising cattle requires the most resources and also the most space to raise that animal. Animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation, which, like, obviously if you're cutting down all the trees, then all of the carbon that those trees have been stored up is going back into the atmosphere, which is bad, but then also you're clearing that way for cattle, which are really big in producing methane, which is then just further worsening the climate. So 1 pound of beef actually requires 5,000 gallons of water to produce because you have to raise such a large animal for such a long period of time. And that's not even including the resources and emissions required to transport that meat to your local grocery store. But of course, this isn't an all or nothing situation. Even just reducing the amount of meat that you're consuming makes a huge difference. And I'll have it up in the video if I can find it, but I saw a chart comparing different diets, and it shows a normal person who eats meat regularly, and then it has different stages of reducing meat. And so the biggest difference is actually between regular meat consumption and a more Mediterranean style diet. And Mediterranean, there are no limitations. They just reduce the amount that they're actually consuming, and that makes the biggest difference. And then after that, of course, is a vegetarian diet, and I know there's different types of vegetarian diets, but the environmental footprint between a Mediterranean diet, a vegetarian diet, and a vegan diet aren't extremely different. Of course, a vegan diet is the best for the planet, but I know for a lot of people that's not realistic. And so then a Mediterranean diet is still hugely reducing your carbon footprint, but it's also not greatly affecting your lifestyle. The second way to really reduce your carbon footprint is to avoid fast fashion. So this isn't new. It's kind of well known that most major fashion corporations, they value quantity over quality, and so cheaply made items are then cheaply priced items, and this results in 15 million tons of textile waste annually. So that means every single year, which is just unthinkable even that people can throw away so much clothing. So most clothing nowadays is pretty much made out of plastic, and these microplastic fibers then are going directly into our water systems every time you wash your clothes. And then even for more natural fibers like cotton or hemp or linen or whatever, all of those, if they're not grown organically, then they're sprayed with pesticides in the growing process, and that also kills the soil and leaks into the water systems. And the problem is that these pesticides are known to be carcinogenic and are directly affecting the health of the workers. So like big retailers, Zara, H&M, CNA, all of these places are fast fashion corporations, and are not great for the environment, as well as not good for the livelihood of those people who have to make those articles of clothing. So something that you can do instead is look for smaller based retail companies to support that make their clothing ethically and sustainably, or even better than that, honestly, is to buy secondhand. If you want even a specific piece of clothing from Zara, say, then look up that piece of clothing on a used clothing website and you will find it. And it will just be on sale pretty much. One thing that's so great about these online thrift retailers is that you can put on so many filters. So if you're not really comfortable with wearing something that's been used by somebody else, you can put a filter on it that says either new, or you can even say new with the tag still on it. And then you're pretty much buying a brand new article of clothing and you're just getting it like discounted pretty much. So it's great for the environment and it's also good for you because you're just saving money. So here in Germany, I use Vinted to search for all of my used clothing. In America and Canada, they have Poshmark. So highly recommend going to check those out. Okay, so the next thing that you can do to really reduce your carbon footprint and to combat climate change, if you have the means to, is to plant a little garden. This has more than just one benefit. A benefit that I don't think a lot of people realize is that having plants outside of your building is like a natural insulator. So it's providing shade, which is literally going to cool the temperature of your house. So big cities, when they're becoming like concrete jungles, they are hot because the asphalt and the concrete is absorbing so much heat. It's necessary to have plants in cities because they cool the temperatures. And so maybe if you're living in a rental or something, or if you bought a house that's already finished, you don't really have control over that. But something that you do have control of is what you're planting on the outside, and that can be a sunblock to your house really. The other thing is that if you're having a garden and you're growing some fruits or vegetables, then that's going to cut down your carbon footprint a ton, because all the things that you're consuming from your garden, you're completely eliminating the transportation emissions that would be required if you bought something from the store that came from another country. So there really are a lot of benefits to having plants in and outside your home. The next thing that you can do to reduce your carbon footprint is to eat locally, eat organically when possible, and also eat foods that are in season. So I remember probably like 10 years ago, it was starting to become a thing. People wanted to eat organically for their health, and I can't really say anything to that. I don't have the knowledge of it, but I can say that eating organically is going to be better for the planet. Like I said, with these major fast fashion retailers, when they're growing cotton, they're spraying it with pesticides, and that's going into the waterways and it's hurting the soil. So when you're eating organically, when you can, then it's just reducing the amount of pesticides that were used to grow that crop. And then also eating locally and in season products is going to cut down so many transportation emissions that you wouldn't really think about it. Like around Christmas time, it's so common to eat oranges. There's always mandarin oranges that are really big around Christmas time. But think about it. If you're living in Canada or Germany in the wintertime, where are those oranges coming from? They have to be shipped from all around the world to get to you. So just think about where they're coming and the resources that they require to get to you. And also, when you're eating as locally as you can, then that's cutting down emissions. It's also helping your local economy and the small farmers that are in your area, which, of course, in this time of COVID and everything, it's really important to support small businesses, especially your small farmers. So the last thing that I have to say today, and something that is so relevant to this time of year, is to really avoid overconsumption. So an average of the year is that about 1/3 of food that you buy is going to end up in the trash. And I know this isn't true for all families and all people, but as an average of the world, that's what happens. And I think around Christmas time, that number goes up quite a bit. I know you want to make sure that you're having enough food for everybody and that nobody's going to go hungry, which honestly, they never will. They will never go hungry with our grandmas. But just be mindful and understand how much people are going to eat and try to stick to that and not have a week's worth of leftovers afterwards. And if you do end up having lots of leftovers, then be creative with those and try and find a new meal that you can make out of them so that that food isn't getting thrown away. When I moved to Europe, I know that Costco was something that I actually kind of missed when I first came, but now that I've kind of adjusted to the European lifestyle, instead of doing a huge grocery haul twice a week, we go like every few days and get a few things for the next days that are coming. And this isn't just about over-consuming and over-purchasing food items. This is for everything. If you just do weekly trips to Target or to Sephora just to go shopping and just to get that fleeting moment of joy when you just purchase something, then that's also overconsumption. And honestly, one of the best things that we can do to minimize our actual waste is to stop overconsuming. So you see these people living out the zero waste lifestyle, and the reason why they're able to live that out isn't because they went out and bought all of the trendy zero waste items. It's because they used what they have until they can't use it anymore, and they aren't constantly buying new trendy things. That's how the zero waste works. So then really just be mindful about what you're purchasing and think to yourself, am I gonna get enough use out of this? Will I be able to finish this food item or this product that I'm buying? So yeah, those are my 5 tips that I have for you guys to reduce your carbon footprint. But of course, let's all remember that there are so many like political business problems which are having so much more of an effect, and that can be a positive or a negative effect. Like one policy change can equal years or a lifetime of what one person can do. So that's why it's so important to use your money where you want your vote to go and spend money on what you believe in and the change that you want to see in the world. So thank you for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember to like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.